Hey everyone, and welcome to the Retro channel, and today a bit of audio gear. This here is the Technics SA-101 receiver, a stereo amplifier from the late 70s. I think this came out in 78 or 79. And although I wouldn't call this a sought after piece of audio gear, it is sought after by me for a particular reason, and that is nostalgia. My brother had one of these when we were growing up, along with a tape deck and a CD player that I've actually managed to acquire since then. And the final piece of the puzzle was this Technics receiver. So it's a pretty meager power output at only 18 watts per channel, but it does have some decent specs. I think total harmonic distortion is 0.04% or something along those lines. And signal to noise ratio is around 95 decibels, I think. So pretty decent specs from something of this age. Whether or not this thing still meets those specs, I highly doubt it. And of course, being on the channel means it's not working. I picked this up off eBay. I've been looking out for these on eBay for a few years, and this one popped up and it looks to be in decent condition. But the seller was actually honest and mentioned that it powers on, but there's no sound output from the speakers, which is unlike a lot of other eBay sellers that just say, you know, untested. Sure. So at least they were honest about that. So yeah, let's have a quick look around at this thing and then we'll plug it in and see what it does. I'm assuming not much. So on the front here, we've got our power switch, headphone output. There is a speaker selection switch because this does have two sets of speaker outputs, main and remote. Bass, treble, and balance pots, and they do have sort of a, I guess, a gooey kind of grease in there, so they sort of have a nice feel to them as you turn them. They don't just spin freely. We've got a loudness switch and the tape selector switch, so it does have two sets of tape inputs and outputs. Input selector for the tuners, phono input and auxiliary input, and FM stereo mono switch, obviously our tuning dial, and our volume control. Not too much going on with the display. Obviously, we've got our tuning dial in there, and there is I think, a signal strength meter. They're just a bunch of LEDs, and an LED for the FM stereo when it's locked onto a stereo signal. There is a power LED over here, and this should all be backlit, so I'm pretty sure there's a few incandescent bulbs to light all this up. So we'll see if all that's working. Let's take a look around the back, though. So we have a inbuilt rod antenna. There's also options for external antennas, a set of inputs. We've pretty much seen all them. There is a DIN input output for tape decks that use that kind of thing. That was definitely a lot more popular in the 70s. Pretty much went out of style in the 80s and everyone just moved to regular RCA connectors. We've got fuses for the speakers, so we should probably check them first. And of course our speaker outputs, a fixed power cord, and there is a voltage selector switch which is currently set to 240 volts AC, which is what we have in Australia. All right, let's plug this thing in. I'll run it through my dim bulb, which should limit the current in case there's a short, but I don't think that's going to happen because, well, it seems the seller recently tested this out, so not expecting anything to go bang, but you never know. Make sure that's switched off. All right, are we ready? We have a power light. No lights behind here though, which I'm pretty sure should light up as well. Let's switch over to a tuner. Not seeing anything on the signal strength meter, so yeah, maybe that's not working either. Oh, no, there was something. All right. The tuner does seem to be picking something up. There's obviously a lot of noise in this room, electrical noise, so yeah, I don't expect it to get a strong signal, but we do have more signs of life than just a power LED, so that's a good start. Let's power it off, and I guess, well, first thing we'll do is just check out these speaker fuses. You never know. So these are just hidden behind a little plastic cover with a little screw holding that on. Nice. And not really going to be able to see it on camera, but they look to be intact. So I don't think we're going to get that lucky. Oh. No. Right channel is open. And the left channel is open. That's a surprise. But why did they blow? That's the question. Let me replace those and we'll see what happens. See if they just immediately blow again. Right, a couple of fresh 2 amp fuses. Maybe we'll just throw one of these in for now. I'll just stick it in the right channel and let's see if it just immediately blows. Power on. I don't think it did, and the receiver is definitely turned on, so I've just turned it back off. Let's just see. I mean, there's nothing connected to the outputs, so yeah, it shouldn't blow. Let's throw the other side in, and we'll leave the cover off for now. Yeah, let's power this back on, and just make sure there's no massive DC voltage on the speaker outputs, because that would definitely destroy a speaker if we went to plug one in. No, not seeing any DC voltage on there. Now, I think ideally you'd put a resistive load on these and then test for DC offset, but I think this is a safe enough bet to say there's no crazy, 10 volts DC or 48 volts DC on the outputs. So let's plug some speakers in, see if we get sound. Right, well I have this tiny pissy little speaker, but it is an 8 ohm speaker, so it'll do for a test. Unfortunately I've only got one of them, so we'll test one channel at a time. Make sure the volume's turned down because we don't want to immediately blow this speaker out. Well, I saw it pop as the amp came on. Not getting any sound out though. It definitely makes a popping noise as I turn the speaker switch on and off, so fuse hasn't blown. Yeah, not hearing anything from the right channel, so maybe we're not going to get that lucky. Alright, swapping over to the left channel. And yeah, still nothing. Our fuses still intact? Yes, they are. Is this speaker still intact? No. So this speaker blew. Well, it seems like this speaker went pop. Maybe it just didn't like the little voltage spikes when I was turning the speakers on and off. So instead, I've hooked up a couple of 10 watt resistors. These are 3.3 ohm, and I've just put them in series. So we should get about, 6.6 ohm across one of the speaker outputs. And we've got the multimeter looking for any DC voltage across this. So let's power this back on again and see what we get this time. Oh, 10.5 volts. Yeah, that's not great. So that is across the main right channel. Let's go over to the left channel. Okay, that seems fine. Maybe 20 millivolts, possibly less as it warms up. But yeah, 10 volts across the right channel. That is not good. That'll definitely kill a speaker. So yes, I definitely should have put a load on these when I first tested them for any DC offset. All right, so let's whip the cover off, take a peek on the inside. Whew, it is quite dusty, but I guess that's to be expected. Not seeing any damaged components, but I have already eyeballed a fuse down there, which looks to have a piece of wire across it. Have a look at that second fuse there. There's a bit of wire going across it. In fact, it's just sort of flapping in the breeze. Either way, that's pretty dodgy. I wouldn't be trusting that. So yeah, somebody has soldered a bit of wire to the outside of that fuse, and the actual fuse itself is blown. I mean, it is a small bit of wire, so maybe it's correctly rated. The original fuse was a 500 milliamp, so let's replace that with a proper fuse. Oh, well that's kind of funny. Down there on the board it actually says 1.25 amp. So what's up with that? What are the rest of these fuses going to look like? This one seems to be intact, and it's a 1 amp. That's correct. Yep, that's definitely good. Oh, shut up. And the other one back here should be 630 milliamp. And it's got a 1.25 amp in there, which is what the other fuse should be. And it is intact. Okay, let's put this one where the 1.25 amp should be. And I'll see if I can find a 630 milliamp. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that this one blew, given it's originally rated at 500 milliamps, and it was in the position for the 1.25 amp fuse. And the 1.25 amp fuse is in the position for the 630 milliamp fuse. Right, looks like the only fuses I've got that are close are either 500 or 800, so let's go a 500 one. We'll under-spec the fuse, better than over-speccing it. Yeah, I don't think it's going to blow, but this definitely isn't related to our DC output on the right channel. All right, so that should be all of our fuses mostly corrected. Let's just plug this in one more time just to see what happens. Perhaps something will go bang. Nah, it's all the same, and yeah, we're still going to have that DC output. All right, so I'm going to have a little think about what we've seen so far, and then figure out where to go next. Definitely some weird things going on with this amplifier though. But right now, I'm hungry. Right, I fed my face, had a little think about this, and while I was thinking about it, also looked around for a service manual, and I did manage to find one online, which is very convenient. I also knocked all the loose dust out of this thing, just so it's a little bit easier to see what's happening inside. So let's power this thing back up, and we'll cross-check the reference voltages listed in the service manual versus what we're seeing here, especially on the right channel. So this is the section we're interested in. There's our speaker outputs, and this lower one looks to be the right channel, and I believe these are the two power amplifiers. Basically these two guys here, so I think that's the right channel, that's the left channel, so we're going to focus on this power amp and see what's going on. So looks like, according to this, we should have 1.3 volts on pin 0 and minus 1.3 on pin 1. And our supply voltages are on pin 9 and pin 2, plus and minus 25.7. And our outputs are on pins 8 and 3 of these things. And yeah, all the pin numbers are labelled on this thing, so it should be pretty easy to check. So let's have a look at pin 1 of this thing, which should be minus 1.3 volts. Ooh. And we have 23.67. If we look at pin 1 of the left channel, minus 1.25. Yeah, that looks a bit more like it. So pin 1 is definitely wrong, so we might have a short in this thing somewhere. And pin 0 also has plus 23.7. Not good. Pin 9, 28.7, so that's higher than what we'd expect to see. And pin 2 should be negative, and negative 28.7. So why do we have almost our input voltages on pin 0 and 1? That is the question. And pins 8 and 3 are our output. So pin 3, yeah, 25 volts on pin 3, so that's going to the speakers. And pin 8, 25 volts. Wow. Just for reference, here's what the other amplifier looks like. So pin 3, one of the speaker outputs, 0 volts as expected, and pin 8, 0 volts. So we have most of our positive supply rail showing up on pin 0 and 1, which should be basically our input signal. There is a capacitor between 0 and 9, but how that gets over to pin 1 as well, I don't see an obvious path there. So it would appear that this power amp is shorted, and yeah, of course we're also seeing those voltages on the outputs, so I'm almost certain that it's IC604, This Darlington power pack has gone short. Can I find a new one though? That is the question. Data sheets. Oh, might be in luck. Looks like Wagner Australia has them in stock maybe. 31.50. I mean, price doesn't really matter that much. I'm just more happy that they're available still. That might be the way to go. I guess we could just swap these around to see if the short follows, but I don't really want to risk damaging something else around these power amps by swapping them over, because it could be that something on the right channel, external to this amplifier pack, is also damaged. So I think our safest bet here is just to pop this out and test it out of circuit, but yeah, I'm almost certain that it's going to be bad. It looks like there's just a sort of wooden panel on the underside, so hopefully this will give us access to the underside of the board. And there's a little bit of damage on that corner, that's a shame. Alright, there we go. Nice. So our right channel is this one here. That should do it from that side. Just got to get this screw out. 2 screws. Yeah, and there it is. Well, I'm actually not seeing an obvious short in this. 8 and 9 look to be shorted. Yeah, so that shorts the positive supply to the speaker output. So, if 8 and 9 were shorted, is there anything else that could have gone wrong? I guess R626 and L602 might have seen some trouble. R628 as well, and C632. Let's see, R626, that one right there. And that's in parallel with this coil, so yeah, it's very low resistance, but yeah, we've got this big coil in parallel to it, so it's probably fine. R628 and C632. R628 is this one, it's supposed to be 10 ohms, which it still is. C632 is this ceramic jobby here, and it looks to be okay. Yeah, everything else on the right channel seems to have survived, so I'm not too concerned about anything else in here. These electrolytic caps, may be worth replacing, but I'm not going to worry about them right now. The main thing is finding a replacement for this amplifier. So yeah, if we look at the other power amplifier between 8 and 9, yeah, there's 0.52 volts voltage drop between those 2 pins, so that's the main difference that we're seeing. This one is cooked. Alright, it is a few days later and I have some new power amps. I actually bought 2 because, well, there's a bit of insurance. I don't fully know if just throwing this thing in is the wisest idea, but I'm no expert on these things. So we're going to stick one in, see what happens. It may go pop again. Hopefully it doesn't. And it could be that the left channel also needs replacing. So hopefully I'll still have a spare in case of that. Yeah, let's throw this in, see what it does. Of course, I'll need to remove the old thermal grease off there, so I'll get that done. Just spread that out a little. Right, that should do. Let's solder it in. Screws. Okay, let's plug it in. Place your bets. Will it just work? Will it go bang? Let's find out. Please don't go bang. It's on. Nothing's cooking that I can see. All right, let's check our voltages on the outputs, which were 8 and 3, so 0 volts, thereabouts. Yep, that looks good. And pin 8, that one, that also looks good. Sweet. Yeah, 30 volts on pin 9, 1.2 on 0, which is right. We should have minus 1.2. Yeah, there we go. Minus 1.3 on pin 1. So voltages at the inputs are a bit high though. But it doesn't seem to be affecting the outputs. Yeah, plus minus 30, which compared to the other amplifier, it's also getting minus 30, plus minus 30 probably. I think we're good to plug in some proper speakers and test this thing out for real. All right, I've just got the speakers set to main. Yeah, it's just a pair of Sony bookshelf speakers. I think they're 6 ohm jobbies, which is perfectly fine. This amp can handle that. I've also stuck the multimeter on the right channel, even though it's currently on my left, which is a bit confusing, but yeah, that's on the right channel, just to make sure we don't see a big DC offset. But I think we'll know as soon as we power this on, because yeah, that speaker's not gonna like it very much if there is one. Let's see. Okay, that's fine. Let's bring some volume. Well, I can definitely hear something out of the right channel on my left. Nothing from the left channel. Do we have the balance? I don't know which one the balance is. Obviously not that one. That's treble. Yeah, nothing on the left channel. Bad connection? No, I don't think so. Oh, no, there it is. Wow. Okay, a lot louder than I was expecting. Right, then the right channel is very quiet, and I don't know why. It's there. It's just not there. All right, so there's still something wrong with the right channel, but at least we're not going to blow out a speaker. Right, well, I just fired up the scope and got the schematics back out and test tone generator, and now bloody right channel's working. So if I play a little test tone, that is definitely coming out of both speakers. So go all the way over to the right, all the way over to the left. It's working, and the radio's working too, so it's not just the auxiliary input working and the radio not. There it is. Whatever. Yeah, so there's got to be a dodgy connection. There's no other way to explain that, I don't think. Let's switch back over to the annoying test tone just so I don't get a copyright strike. I'm pretty sure it's not the speaker wires. Let's just go all the way over to the right channel again. No, I don't think it's that. If I unplug the right channel, yeah, it goes away. So the auxiliary input to the right channel, it's definitely working as it should. Oh. What's that? I can't actually see what it is. Ah, the tape source tape selector switch. So definitely that switch is dodgy. Well, that's kind of good, because I was about to start tracing it from the input all the way through up to the power amplifier and seeing where the signal disappeared. Apparently it's disappearing at that switch, so that's kind of an easy one. So the joints on it look fine, it's just got to be contacts inside the switch that's causing the problem. So little bit of contact cleaner in there. We should be golden. Hopefully that'll find its way through. While we're at it, may as well do the loudness switch. I'm not going to touch these pots because, like I said, they are dampened, so I think there's some kind of gooey grease in there, and I don't want contact cleaner to disturb that. Thankfully, it doesn't seem like we need to do anything on those. They don't seem to be scratchy at all. Let's do the FM stereo switch as well. And our speaker switch. All right, let's try it one more time just to be sure. Auxiliary. I think I'm plugged into remote speakers. Yep, there we go. Perfect. All right, let's check the other inputs. Tape. Tape input is working. All right, let's try the DIN connector. I'm not sure which one's going to be which, so there's one channel. Yep, there's the other. Bit of buzzing, so we don't have a good ground connection there. DIN connector's a bit dodgy. Bit of contact cleaner in you. Didn't I turn that off? I did. That's better. No more buzzing. No more cutting out. I don't have something I can stick into the phono connector at the moment, so let's just knock the volume down really low. There we go. That's our phono stage. Very loud, of course. And yeah, FM tuner. AM tuner. Let's see if I can... It's not great. See if we can pick something up on the AM. I don't think we're going to be able to in here. It's like a theremin. Well, there is something in there, but I'm not surprised that I can't pick up good AM reception in this room. All right, let's find something that's not going to get me a copyright strike. Classic jazz from the YouTube library. There we go. Loudness is definitely working. It's almost a little bit too overpowering with the loudness on. Need to back the bass off a little bit. It's a tiny bit scratchy there, but it's fine. Treble. Working as expected. Yeah, none of these pots are scratchy, which is nice. And probably can't see it, but that's the volume on 1. So if we go up to say 2 or 3, that's 18 watts well used, I think. Lovely. Well, I guess the last thing to do is get this light working again and give this thing a proper clean. I don't think we're going to go touching anything else in here, and it's all pretty basic. Most of the adjustments you can make look to be related to the tuner, but for both FM and AM, so not going to go messing with those kind of things because I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to that stuff. And yeah, there's no bias adjustment for the amplifiers or anything like that by the looks of it. So, well, it sounds perfectly fine. We just want to make it look a little bit better now. So yeah, I don't know what the deal with this is, but I think it's supposed to go through the board. There's a tiny little hole behind these caps, and I'm pretty sure that's just supposed to kind of sit in there. And I guess when the top cover's on, that would stop it from popping back out, which is what it's doing now. So no need to worry about that right now. Let's try and fish out this this bulb, which would be hiding up in there somewhere. I really don't want to mess with the tuner cord. Well, I can see on the bottom of the board where those two wires go, so let's just measure that. See what voltage we're getting there. 40 volts AC, right. I've just disconnected it because it's it actually comes off a couple of the windings of the transformer, so it's just AC powered. But yeah, 1.2 mega ohms, that's probably just what's going through my hands, pretty much. So we need to fish that thing out, which means I'm pretty sure I'm going to need to remove this front panel, which means I also need to deal with the tuner string, which should be fun. Right, knobs off. Need sockets. Or am I? Does this part just come off? Oh. So if that just comes off without removing anything else, maybe don't need to deal with the tuner string after all. Like inside. Right, well, I don't see any way of actually replacing the bulb in this thing. It seems to be completely sealed, and it's obviously part of this dial. So might just have to go without a light. I guess I could always try and, I don't know, install some lights somewhere else behind this panel just to illuminate it a little bit. But yeah, I'm not going to go messing with that. At least with the front panel off, I can clean this up because it is pretty dusty and dirty, so that's good. Looks pretty good. It is a bit scratched up. Not a lot I can do about that, although I probably can fix up this bent corner a little bit. All right, there we go. Just stuck it in the vise. It's not perfect, but it's definitely a lot better. It's interesting what's going on with the paint on the top of this thing. I'm pretty sure it didn't come that way from the factory, but it's kind of a interesting texture. I think I'll leave it like that. Yeah, that paint's definitely looking a bit dull in some areas, especially around the vents, but I kind of like it. It's got a bit of character to it. And I'm too lazy to respray it. Let's get our knobs back on. Right, well, it's definitely looking a lot cleaner, and it now works, so that's a bonus. Let's give it one final test, just to be sure. Right, well, that is it. I've brought out the Technics CD player, which I've also shown on the channel in the past, and yes, this was one of the pieces of equipment that my brother had when he also had this amp. I'm not going to bring out the tape deck. It's a pretty average one. It's a Sherwood, fairly basic, very low woe and flutter though, so it does have that going for it, but I don't really want to pull that out of the hi-fi stack at the moment. So the CD player will do, and because I've added a remote function to this thing, we should be able to just hit play. And there it is. And yes, both channels definitely working. Sounds brilliant. Unfortunately, I probably can't play too much of that track, so we'll have to stop that. But yeah, this amplifier has been brought back from the dead. A lot of weird things going on. In fact, I still haven't covered up that little fuse panel. But yeah, dead fuses in there. Wrong spec fuses inside the amplifier itself. I still haven't put a proper 630 milliamp back in there. It's still got the 500 milliamp one, but I'm sure it'll be fine for now. I'll worry about that sometime in the future. So yeah, very happy to now own one of these amplifiers. It's been on my wish list for a little while. Like I said, nothing too special, but yeah, it still can do some pretty good stuff with only 18 watts per channel. So that is it for this one. Thank you all for watching. A huge thanks to the people that support the channel on Patreon. If you want to do If you want to do the same, you'll find links to that in the video description. You get ad-free early access, along with a few exclusives here and there, and discounts on the Tindy store. But yeah, that is it for me, so thank you all for watching. Catch you in the next one. Bye.